Hey, welcome to your version pamphlet. My name is Rob, and I'm the host of this one-man show. How are you guys doing? Hope everything is happy and jolly with y'all. Today's the first day of September, so it's officially autumn in my books. So summer's done. And why not, I was thinking, why not have a little bit of like a retrospective look at just the music that we received this summer, the trends that happened, and what better way to look at that by exploring the concept of recession pop and its resurgence. I would say, like its return, its like revamped moment this year, this summer specifically, and how it might even shape the rest of the year's music. I'll get into like what it is and like the concept of recession pop and all that stuff. But yeah, that's what we want to talk about today. Like me and my voices in my head told me to just speak on this because it's been on my mind for quite a bit, and now I'm, you know what, I wanna delve into that. I just feel like it's so well fitting, and it's so interesting to look at trends and how they return in music and all that stuff, and how music trends also are very much influenced by economic conditions and social conditions, and what the you know leading generations like go through in that sense. But yeah, we'll get into that. But let's first get into the songs of the week. So here's a bit of mood check, I would say, about my new playlist, because I want to start a new one basically. I think ever since I went to this club that's called the Lexington, I've been rediscovering a lot of like classical rock and all that stuff, and a lot of it's not necessarily like 80s or 70s rock, or like 90s rock, or all that stuff. It's like a lot of classic rock that you can dance to. I'm talking about the Smiths, I'm talking about Cage the Elephant, the Strokes, and so on. So I wanna put one song at least in there, in the playlist. But I'm not gonna put any of the old ones. I think I might put a new artist that I found while I was making this playlist, inspired by the Lexington pub that it's here in London. I think I want to put the song called "The Recipe" by Got Health. Very interesting rock anthem. This is a band. I don't know much about them, but yeah, it's giving punk. It's giving fast paced like rock music that you can dance to. It's very very fun. So yeah, if you feel like having a little moment like that, just just check it out. Check out the playlist. The playlist is gonna be on my profile, of course, on Spotify. You can just search the Overshare Pamphlet Songs of the Week September, because it's gonna be the first batch of songs for September. But yeah, this was a nice vibe. I think it just literally, I think what specifically really like intrigued me about this club and the music they played was the fact that most of these songs are also picked from a time where my parents, for example, used to go clubbing. My parents used to go clubbing to these songs as well in their time when they were in their 20s or whatever. And so it really felt like a bit of throwback in that sense, a little bit of not even a throwback, because I never really experienced it myself, but just a very nostalgic feeling as well. But the music is incredible. It's just a completely different way of doing of clubbing and dancing and all that stuff. So loved it personally. So definitely check it out. Then to stay on theme with what we're discussing. Well, actually, you know what? Before we get into actual theme as well, I want to talk about Check by Flo. Now, this is... I know New Jeans did not invent this genre, I guess. It's like that. Like dance R&B type of song. But that's a genre that they popularized. And it seemed like in K-pop specifically, everyone was doing that. But Flo is a British group. And he's made up of like 3 amazing talent, like super talented girls. They've done, I bet you know about like you must have heard what is called Cardboard Box, for example. They are behind that. They're the ones singing that. I'm gonna put your shit in a cardboard box. Yeah, you know. Well, anyways, that. But they came out with this new song, the newest single, Check, and it's very much in that R&B dance fashion. They've always done R&B songs, but this is like more fresh and like up to date, like much on par with what New Jeans and like the new Jeansification of, you know, K-pop is happening. But really cool stuff. I think it's still very much Flow though. Like they have that harmony stack that is like very signature of Flow in R&B and all that stuff. So I just love it. The song is so good. It's so good. So you like fresh as well. Still that genre, but I think it's like they made it their own, and I really enjoyed that. So yeah, like let's go. So yeah, that's gonna be in the playlist. Now, I want to talk about this track, to be on theme, as I said. 1991 by Azealia Banks. This song is so fucking good. Like, I cannot stress this enough. 1991 is that bitch. I know it had a moment back in like what 2020 maybe, or 2019. I can't remember. Back on TikTok originally, but this song is what I'm talking about. Like in terms of, you know, house music and just pure excellence and uncharted, like, you know, uncharted territory for, you know, pop music, I think. But Azealia Banks, her artistry is so fucking good, I think. Unfortunately, she's a very problematic person. We cannot deny that. And it's such a shame because so many of her songs are like so impressive. The production here is just incredible. Her rap flow is just beautiful, gorgeous. She's just so lyrical as well, and I love it. 1991 is that bitch. I mean, I know it's a popular song, and I know like everyone knows about it, but 1991 is that bitch. So yeah, if you like house music, if you like that typical like house sound, you might enjoy this song. I think it's like house excellence basically. So I would say, you know, give it a go, give it a listen. It's just that good. It's so infectious. Like it literally makes your body move. It's just so fucking good. Yeah. Then Jacuzzi by, is it Loziak or Loziak or something like that. I don't know the artist. Personally, just discovered the song recently, but it's a very like sexy song, of course. Like the jacuzzi in question is her her coochie. So you can understand what the song is about basically. Like she's inviting the guy to, like, you know, get into her jacuzzi and all this stuff. Whatever. That's besides the point. Incredible hot girl song, cunty song, very hyper pop coded. Just beautiful stuff. So I don't know if you like the vibe of, like, let's just say Slater, Aisha Erotica, any of that sort. To be fair, I think it's like, yeah, it's more like on that wavelength, like that hyperpop genre, I guess. Like not super confusing, but more poppy maybe. I don't know, but just if you want to feel cunty, if you want to feel like a hot girl, that's the song to like listen to. You know, that's most definitely a song, a an incredible one at that. So yeah, and oh, we already have 4 tracks, but I'm gonna put this one as well. This one is called oh fuck, I want to put two. Let me start with this one. 10 Boyfriends by Chrissy Chlapeka. I don't fucking know, but the song is just so much fun. I love this artist. Actually, I don't even know how to like actually properly pronounce her name, but if you know I'm So Hot, if you know Head Bitch, all these songs, I'm Really Pretty, they're all her songs. Very Britney inspired hyperpop songs. But this one, 10 Boyfriends, it's much more like first of all, it's very summery, very like pop, summer bop in that sense. The content is very funny. Like she says, like a girl, like if you're a hot girl, you need to have, you cannot have just one single boy. Like you need to have at least 10 boyfriends. You know, one to have fun with, one to go out, one that cooks you dinner, one to have sex with, and all that stuff, and like yada yada yada. So funny, very very funny, very meta, very hilarious content. But just the song, the production, and everything is just outstanding. She truly has, I think, a proper knack for pop hooks and pop, like just the pop sauce that you find in any pop hit, basically. So yeah, like that's such a good summary song. I'm so sad that, like, you know, I discovered it just now when summer is officially done, but I'm still gonna listen to it because it's just that fun of a track. So she's going in the playlist straight up. And you know what? I wanna add. I don't care. 6 songs. I don't care. Boom Bap by Dochi. This is such a funny, interesting track. She doesn't even make sense. Like she's just like, this song is about, like, you know, like rapping and being braggadocious and, like, you know, being like, you know, going on a beat and doing boom pop pop whatever, all that fucking shit. But her delivery is comical, and her delivery is like very funny, but also the production is just so interesting and so like comical as well. And it reminds me so much of Doja Cat as well. I'm not sure when this song came out, but maybe it came out recently. Let's see, 2024. Yeah, came out in 2024, but 30th of August actually. Okay, so oh my god, like 2 days ago. Okay, cool. Anyways, reminds me so much of like Doja Cat, specifically her latest album, Doja Cat's latest album, and songs like wait, let me find, what am I specifically referring to. It doesn't really remind me about Agora Hills, but it reminds me of in Scarlet, let's see, Head Eye, for example, or like, I don't know, Balut, some of that sort of like R&B situation where she raps on it. So that's the vibe, but I think it's more comical, but it's still very like in the same space. It's just so creative. I loved it. I don't think I've ever heard a song like that. So I am seated for this one. So yeah, already 6 songs, but I'm gonna stop right here, and you guys can check them out and see what's up. But anyways, let's get into the topic of the day, which is recession pop, and just like, as I said, like a little bit of you know, reminiscent vibe, I guess. So I think, because like specifically, as I said, like in my books, like you can now look properly back on the summer's music and like what popped off and like what were the main trends. You can now finally analyze what's going on and what's changing in the music scene and also in society, I guess. But because this is very much about like a link between socio-economic conditions and pop music, which is very, very interesting. Recession pop is a real term. It's not like a funny little, gag moment, but recession pop is a real term. People have studied about it, specifically with the 2008. That's when when the term was first coined. But following that recession in 2008, I think in retrospective, people like have started researching on it and seeing how like music and trends, like music trends and like what specific subjects were treated in music and what were the major hits on the radio at the time, and there's a link between the two. So it turns out that during periods of like economic hardships and just a general a common feeling in society that we are facing harsh conditions and like living a hard life, many people find escape, of course, in music, as one would, but I think the specific type of music that people look out for in these periods of time are danceable music, like dance music, house, and just music that deals with like partying and forgetting about your problems and just having a blast and doing cocaine and smoking and all that shit, so but not necessarily like doing do all that shit, but I mean there's multiple layers on this. Like there's songs like the Katy Perry's tracks, Last Friday Night and all that stuff, but the common thread is basically like party music, right? Partying, forgetting about your problems, going out with your friends, whatever, all that stuff. So that you can definitely tell that was the case in 2008 and like the first few years of the 2010s. That was very much the trend. EDM was popping off in that period. Katy Perry said was leading the charts with very various fun tracks, California Girls and Last Friday Night, and pretty much anything in Teenage Dream. That was one thing. Then you had people like Pitbull, Florida, and you had people like the Black Eyed Peas and LMFAO and all these people producing songs that were all about partying hard, going out, throwing ragers, and just forgetting about your problems. So Kesha, also, how to forget about Kesha, TikTok and all that stuff. Those were all very much the vibe for the music at the time. And you can see also how influential it was sonically, I guess, because for example, even Taylor Swift, who at the time was still 1 foot in the country realm, when she put out Red and she was experimenting for the first time with pop, one of her major pop shifts was I Know You Were Trouble, which has a lot of EDM elements in it. The chorus itself is just pure EDM drop, even though the subject matter was not partying or whatsoever. You can still see the reach of the trend of recession pop. So that's where you saw all these artists flourishing and topping the charts and all that stuff. So I would say what is really interesting is that then right after that, it's well, in general, the aesthetic that was proposed on the internet was party girls and all that stuff. People are all about drinking and all about the aesthetic was very much party girl vibes and all that stuff. So I think then when things started changing was midway through the 2010s, and we started having a bit of a celebration of the clean girl aesthetic. That's when it started for the first time, I would say, or new wave feminism and embracing strong messages and empowerment and all that stuff. So that was a big trend in music then in those years, about earning money and spending on what you want and being a boss ass bitch and the clean girl aesthetic and logging in onto your schedule and all that stuff. So that was pretty much the vibe throughout that period. And so you see like how things change based on like, how the vibes change also, but how also the socio-economic condition of our 2014 society was very much evolving, and hand in hand musical trends were evolving alongside it. So um, I think the big shift and what set up everything to like bring us back to today was, of course, another whooping recession. Even though like right now, specifically in this moment, I think inflation has cooled down, but I think we're still experiencing a lot of a lot of the blowback of that. Like house prices are very high, and I think just in general like costs of living is insanely high, even though like even unemployment as is plummeting, like it's going down quite a lot in different countries. But I think overall there's this, it's not simply about like the actual economic condition, but also like the feeling that we have, the economic uncertainty, and like what we've received from our previous generation, like from our parents, all that stuff, like the economic world that we live in, how we were fed up with like being always unable to properly experience happy economic life in our 20s and all that stuff. So there's this like widespread general economic uncertainty again, and that and I would argue also coupled with COVID set up everything for this moment to happen, which is the Brat summer. I would say the Brat summer and the Sabrina summer and the Chapel Rowan summer in general. I would say all these girlies have one element in common, which is very fun, very carefree, and almost like party adjacent music as well. Well, especially Brat is that definitely like club music, but I think you can also find in Chapel and in Sabrina a lot of like the Katy Perry element, like the very poppy, very carefree type of music. So apart from the economic condition, which was also part of like consequence of COVID, I think COVID itself psychologically was what really also set up this moment. I think many young people in COVID, I'm talking specifically about Gen Z, they were of course alienated from very important stepstones in your teenhood and like your young adulthood in that sense, which was the going out experience, the partying with your friends and all that stuff. So those few years really marked a big shift and a big longing for that, I would say. Like the general consensus is that Gen Z don't know how to party because they never had a chance to actually fully commit to it, and despite that they still, well, maybe even specifically because of that, they started wondering so much about during the pandemic and even after that how nightlife would be like, and how instead of worrying so much about the current status of society, how fun it would be to just go out and like experience what the previous millennials had a chance to experience with the as that like the LMFAO and the all these people like the Black Eyed Peas and all that stuff. So they wanted their own version of I got a feeling, I got a feeling. But so I think all these like elements definitely set the stage up for like a return for this sort of music. And I think I've read a couple of articles for this. One is a CNBC article written by Jessica Dickler and Anna Teresa Sola. But I think the most interesting one is the one written for The Guardian by Zoe Williams. And that is specifically also the rejection of the clean girl aesthetic. Like the very interesting point here that I want to bring up is basically that any sort of movement in music and in society is always, of course, a response to the previous one, right? It's like always a conversation that is like that keeps on evolving and changing all the time. So I think what led to Brat and specifically the party girl aesthetic again was the sudden rejection of the clean girl aesthetic, the demure girl aesthetic. I think people had enough of that specific vibe. I think also because it's so rooted in economic investment, and since I was saying that we're all experiencing economic hardships and all that stuff, people don't want to necessarily invest any more money like in all these like things that start seeming useless, like the beauty routine, and like buying very expensive clothes and sets and all that stuff, and committing to your makeup looks, like doing a very clean girl aesthetic look and all that stuff, like that requires money, and requires a lot of effort and a lot of also ideological stance, I would say, like an ideological shift in your brain. Like you have to be okay with like endorsing capitalism for good, and endorsing all these brands and all that stuff, and like there's a lot involved in there as well. I think also feminism in that sense like plays a huge role. I think with that overemphasis of the clean girl aesthetic, you secretly also endorse a sort of conservative look on women as well. Not necessarily like I don't want to generalize it, of course, but I think there's a lot of how to say, like I would say like the clean girl aesthetic endorses a sort of conservative image of women's body, which is your body's sanctuary and you shouldn't sleep around and all that stuff. So like you get to that point where sleeping around and like being slutty is again looked down upon. And I think when there is so much like tension in that sense, when you try to control someone's body so much, it's bound to happen, and it's bound to like get to a point where the brat comes out of you. The brat the brat within you comes out of it. And the brat aesthetic is exactly the opposite of that. It's like a very, I think Charlie XCX really nailed it down, which was a pack of cigs, a big lighter, and a strappy white top with no bra. So like it's a very messy girl aesthetic, a very dirty, hedonistic, happy and braless, basically topless basically girl. So yeah, so that was the natural reaction and the natural progression of this like clean girl trend, and I think the summer was the moment for that. Charlie spearheaded, I think, this movement with Brat, the album, of course, and the entire concept being basically about that. The album itself is very interesting because there's a lot of those like throwback elements that I was talking about, like the partying, the going out, like club classics, or One Dutch. All these are about like throwing ragers and doing whatever. So yeah, that's the vibe. But I think what's also interesting is that Brat is also at the same time very conscious of this like as I was talking about, this continuous, how to say, like conflict in like girlhood, specifically about not knowing specifically where you fit, and like having to fight between these two emotional sides, like wanting to be caring about your body and everything else, but also being so alienated by all these like social media starlets and all that stuff. So there is all of that. So Girls So Confusing is a perfect example of that. So yeah, but that really Gen Z loved Brat for a reason, because as I was saying, like they were craving for a moment like this, and they're finally receiving it. And I think, as I was saying, also Sabrina Carpenter and Chapel Rowan are also aiding and like fitting into this vibe in the pop sense, I guess, like the more pop, bubblegum pop, more commercial, I would say, maybe route, I guess. They're all giving us their own little bit, like for example Espresso, incredible example of that. The very careless and like fun image that like Sabrina brings on Short and Sweet, as I was talking in my previous review, that's very much ingrained into that. And I would say even Chapel Rowan with like Hot to Go, Red Wine Supernova, Phenomenon, like all these are like incredibly fun tracks about like going out, hooking up, all this stuff. So yeah, so I think it's very interesting to see like how trends return into music, and they evolve as well. Like they have their own little version of it, like their own take. They slightly alter, of course. So yeah, it's very, very interesting. I really enjoy where music is heading in that sense, and I do believe that we're gonna still, like, be focusing on this sort of trend that is going on in music right now. So there's a lot of, like, campiness at the moment, a lot of, like, drag, a lot of burlesque, theater kid energy, a lot of club girl, rat girl aesthetic. So I think it's just very interesting to look, like, to look into. And what I'm mostly curious about is that how is this gonna affect and, like, influence the truly, like, bigger artists. And I'm talking specifically about Taylor Swift and pretty much her. That's the only one left. But I would say, like, the behemoths of music, how are they gonna fit into that? Because as I was talking, like, about this before, I Knew You Were Trouble was very much, in my opinion, like a sort of compromise between the two. But, like, Taylor wanted to still keep her confessional songwriting intact, of course, but I think she really wanted to, like, fit into the pop sphere by delving into, like, the EDM stuff in 2012. So that made so much sense. And I am so, intrigued to see if she, well, that is, of course, if she releases any album anytime soon. But if trend keeps on going, I'm very intrigued to see if she got anything in her stash with this sort of vibe, like the I Knew You Were Trouble of it all. I would be seated for that personally. I Knew You Were Trouble is one of my favorite songs for a reason. I think it's, like, such an interesting combination of the two elements of, like, this, like, emotional but also very, like, very emotive song, but also very, like, danceable and very, like, EDM rager song in a sense. So screaming your lungs out basically and just losing your fucking shit. So I would be down for it. I think that would be a natural, like, it would be a very interesting move for Taylor. I think also in terms of possible new aesthetic for a new era or whatever. Not to say that she has to go fully into the Brat aesthetic necessarily. That would be a bit hypocritical, but I'm just excited to see, like, how music is gonna, still move on from this, because this is a big moment. And as I was also talking in some previous episodes that I had, that I made on, like, Brat Summer and all that stuff, I think this general trend is such a strong movement that I haven't seen in pop culture in a while. I think what I always bring up when I talk about music nowadays is, like, the death of the monoculture in that sense, and how Brat Summer was roughly one of the few unifying moments in a long time. When I'm referring specifically to, like, the Gen Z and, like, the younger generations, but the Brat Summer phenomenon of it all was one of the few phenomena that really captured the attention of many different niches, many different groups in our youth, basically. So, and that's rare. Like, I think ever since, TikTok and the algorithms being so hyper specific, and the amount of music coming out nowadays, I think people have, definitely grown apart in that sense. Everyone has found their own niche. Everyone is listening to their own little, like, type of music, and it's very hard to capture these days, like, the attention of everyone. And as I was saying in my previous videos as well, the only artist itself that can do that, like, and I'm talking about across the board, is Taylor Swift right nowadays. Like, she's the only one who can, whenever she drops an album, everyone knows about it. But I think, aside from that, as a full pop sound and phenomena, Brat Summer has been the latest, thing that managed to accomplish that, which is very, 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 very difficult. So if this managed to have such a huge hold on the entire, youth, I'm excited to see how it's going to translate in the future with different artists and different, trends in music. But, I mean, let's say that this could last very long. It might as well be that this might, finish with the end of this summer. But I wouldn't be surprised if, like, for the next month and, by the end of the year or something like that, we're still going to receive, like, some good ass pops, Like, a testament of that is that I think definitely Sabrina's album, even though it came out like right at the end of the summer, it's still very much like fun, careless, very, humorous, and not really that serious, and, very messy, let's just say, type of behavior. So you can still like experience that with the latest releases, basically. So that's all I'm saying. So yeah, so I look forward to see what's gonna happen next. I am very, very excited. I'm also on the lookout for new music coming out soon. I think what I'm really interested in at the moment is, well, there's this new group that's about to come out in K-pop. It's called Meow, like MEOV, and I am wondering if that's gonna be also an EDM group or like a dance heavy, like almost hyperpop adjacent or something like that. EDM, whatever. Because K-pop is very sad as well when it comes to EDM. I think if you guys don't know much about K-pop, you should link into that if you like EDM, because that's the place to be at. So yeah, like I'm looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to a bit of, a new Chapel Run album, maybe. I'm hoping for that. I think I've seen some recent interviews where she said that she is writing a lot of music, and I don't know. I think she needs to ride the height that she's at currently. So she needs to, like, I mean, she's still touring, to be fair. So I think once her tour is done, she might like manage to, finalize something and give it to us. But I think if anything is like, good luck, babe. We'll be definitely receiving some great ass music. But yeah, I think these are the main artists you should look out for in that sense. You should look out for, the next Chapel Rowan record to see like if Charlie still tries to continue the Brat Summer Energy with like a new remix of any of her songs, or a reissue. She was talking about like she has another album that she wants to put out soon that is still in the Bratosphere, basically. But not the same. Like it seems like it's not like a reissue of like or like a remix album of that. So, yeah, look out for these girlies. They are dominating the music scene right now, and yeah, it's just interesting to see in retrospective how things change but also stay the same. And I'm just excited to find out what's gonna happen next. Anyways, you can follow me on Instagram, by the way. My Instagram is going to be linked in the description of each episode, so you can find me there, robscal.jpg, and you can follow me on TikTok, of course. You can follow me on Twitter. I am back on Twitter, tweeting every now and then and seeing what's up, so that's another place to be at. You can just, subscribe to this and share it with your friends, and just share the episodes around. I'm sure you guys enjoy a lot of this. I've been seeing a lot of support for some interesting episodes. I do want to get back into my review situation with books specifically, because I think you guys really appreciated the A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara's review that I did. It's probably my second most listened to episode, and I haven't been able to do like a review ever since. But I want to buy this book called Piranesi, I think it's called. I don't really know what it is about, because specifically I've heard multiple reviews saying that you should go in blind. I've started reading it and it's so confusing, girl, but if it really captures my attention and really like gags me, I will do a review about that. I might as well do. That will come with time, I guess. But the only problem I have with the book is that it doesn't really have a very captivating cover art in that sense. And that's really a struggle for me. But apart from that, it seems interesting. I'm intrigued. So I want to buy the book, and I'm going to give it a read and possibly give you guys a review if it's good. If not, if you don't hear from me in that department, then you probably know it's shit. Which it probably won't be. I don't know. I trust the reviews. Anyways, that's going on for way too long. Anyways, bye. Enjoy the rest of the week and keep on slaying. See you next week. Bye.